and welcome to the inaugural episode of Tales from the Midpack. I'm your host, Rebecca Hunt. I'll be bringing you stories from the everyday runner, advice from the odd expert, and perhaps some race recaps along the way. Today, for my first podcast ever, so my first guest ever, is the super sweet and amazing Maria Naranjo.
That's correct. That's correct.
A runner and a good friend of mine. Welcome, Maria.
Oh, thank you so much, Beck. Thanks for even considering me for this podcast.
Awesome. The reason I asked you, apart from the fact that you're a friend and I knew you'd say yes, but you went through a big experience with some hip fractures, unfortunately. So I thought we could learn a lot from the experience that you went through, because when you go through something that big, like you learn a lot from all the experts that help you out, and you probably do a lot of your own research. But for people who don't really know you, where did your trail running journey begin? How did you get into this crazy sport?
Oh, wow. I was a runner. Probably I started to run 10 years ago, just when I arrived to Australia. I used to do it before back home, but not really like a lot, like probably at the odd jog in the park or whatever. But once I came here, I started to run on the roads only, and very short distances, like probably 12K will be the longest.
Yeah. Were you like me? You hadn't even heard of trail running?
Yeah. I didn't even hear about that. And then in 2016, I think it was, my brother, who loves trail running, he came and visited me, and I was already living here in Bel Air, and he said, "You're insane. I mean, you live 5 minutes from the park and you run on the roads. You are crazy. Just come with me and we'll run the trails." And I said, "Oh, I don't like running on the trails. It's just too many hills and blah, blah." "Oh, no, come on." So pretty much he just dragged me out of, and go to the park. We went to the park for a run. It was tough the very first time, but I don't know. I got just, I got the back for trail running, and it captured me since then. So it's 4 years ago that I started with trail running per se, and then I haven't looked back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if the echoes of those stomps are coming through, but we have 3 children upstairs, so like me, you balance all your running with 2 kids on the go as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes, squealing and thumping. So you've been doing it about 4 years. What have been some of your favourite events that you've gone in?
Oh, I will say probably the best one, I think has been Wonderland. Wonderland is just amazing. I don't even know how to explain it. It's a different thing. The Grampians are great. It's just, I don't know, the scenery. There is something in those mountains that's just amazing.
It's good. Which distance did you do last year?
Last year I did 20, but the year before I did the 36. Yeah. So once you get to the top of the pinnacle and you see all those views, it's just, I don't know, I just fell in love with that place. And the weather was fantastic on the very, very first year that we went there. So probably that has been the very best. And then I didn't mind Eurobilla when I did it the first time, and the only time.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I fell on my hand, and it was a bit tragic, but it was a nice experience, and the sense of achievement was great too.
Yeah. Awesome. And last July you had a very big win. You were Trail Running SA's weekly winner for the Taste Bud Craving Award. And apparently bacon and egg rolls are a big winner for you after long runs.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the smell of it. Oh, my God. I don't normally eat bacon. I don't eat bacon at all, but I don't know why I crave bacon when I finish a long run. Yeah. And it even better if it's in a big roll with an egg. Yeah. And it's just not me at all. So on a daily basis, I will probably eat just, maybe a hard-boiled egg eventually, and never bacon, and probably a very, very healthy slice of bread, but never like those, big rolls with bacon and egg. But that's what my body craves. I don't know, maybe it's the salt, or because I do tend to sweat a lot, and I feel a lot salty when I finish a long run. I have salt all over my face.
You get the white crust.
Everything. So I don't know if that's what it is, but that's my favourite treat.
Delicious. We all do it. I had a 600ml eggnog and a whole thin crust pizza to myself on Saturday after a big run.
Oh, well, there you go.
Now, I think if I remember correctly, when you were, this first all happened, you were training for UTA and hoping to go to UTA. Is that when the first?
No.
Or am I getting my memories mixed up there?
Yeah, no. I was just, what was I doing when it first? So with the very first, it actually happened after Eurobilla, after my first and only Eurobilla, in 2017. So my very first ultra was not here, was home. Yeah. I did,
where was home again?
Ecuador, in South America. Yeah. So it was a 50K run that I did over there with my brother, which I didn't like at all. I didn't like it. I wouldn't do it again because it was just so hot and lots of mosquitoes. Yeah. Once you stopped, the mosquitoes started to eat you. Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, and then after that, probably it was 2 months after that, was Eurobilla. And just straight after Eurobilla, I had my first fracture, a stress fracture.
So what were the signs that something was wrong? What did you feel?
It was just the pain. So I went for a run because at that time I would normally run with a TRSA group on Thursday morning. Yes. And so, it was one of those runs, and then as I was just finishing, I felt a horrible pain. Then I couldn't even walk later on that day. Yeah. It was super, super painful. And then I thought, well, it'll go away, but it didn't, and it became worse and worse. And then I went to see Emma, my physio, who is still my physio. Yeah. She's great, by the way.
Oh, it's funny because listeners, she's who is going to be my next guest. Oh, and I lined that up forgetting that you were actually her patient for this. It wasn't intentional.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just that she's also my physio, so it was one of those I have access to her and want to hear about from a physio's perspective. What do we keep doing wrong all the time? What do we need to learn?
Yeah, true.
So, we'll get to hear from Emma next time.
Oh, great.
But you went to see Emma. How did she diagnose it?
Oh, Emma was great. So before Emma, I actually tried a couple of physios, and they were like, hopeless. They didn't even know. Like,
were they not running specialists?
Yeah, not running specialists. So it just was, a bupa physio that I had because I had bupa. Yeah. So, but they didn't have a clue. So they were like, because I was researching a little bit before, just Googling, asking Google. So what would that pain be? And I did have something saying stress fracture. And when I mentioned that to the doctors at the time, to the physios, they said, I don't know what that is. So one of them even said that, and he charged me $150 for that consult. And I'm like, oh my God, you're a physio and you don't know what is a stress fracture. And I just Google it and I know it. So then I went to see Emma, and then I mentioned to her, look, I've looked at this and it sounds like it might be this. And she just said straight away, that looks like that. So go and have an MRI and we'll take it from there. And effectively it was. So, of course, I was on crutches for, I think it was 8 weeks. Yeah. And then I started to see all the specialists, the sports doctor, the ortho, how do you say that? Or the ones that do the surgery on the bones.
Oh, orthopedic?
Yeah. That's the word.
That's
orthopedic surgeon. Yeah. So I went to see them, and it was just a lot of money, a big process to follow. Very frustrating, physically and mentally, because emotionally I was like desperate to do something. Like, it wasn't that I wasn't even able to run, that I wasn't even able to walk or to do things around the house because it was with these crutches. Yeah. Like, even getting a cup of tea was just, oh my God, can you help me? So, it was painful, emotionally and physically painful. Anyway, once I got through that, I started with Emma, and again, a return to run program. She was fantastic. She's the best. She's really nice. really good physio, and also she's been a great friend. Like, she's been very supportive in those times when I've been like really down. She's always like emailing me, oh, come on, cheer up, blah, blah. So she's really good.
Yeah, from what I understand, physios seem to be getting a lot of training in the psychology of pain and I guess the mental health involved when you have an injury.
Yeah.
There seems to be a lot more up with that these days.
And that's
so it's
great.
more of a whole experience,
like
isn't it?
holistic approach. I think that's great. And then, so once I got through that, I started training again. And
what did she have you doing? Like, what was the rehab process?
So it was to start very, very slow. So it was like a routine of walk, jog, and then, you would increase in the minutes that you will jog versus the minutes that you will walk. And up to the point when you are just running for the whole half hour. Yeah. And then you will increase the days and the week. And
was there strength work complementing all of that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a definite yes. What she have you doing?
Yeah. So I remember it was weights. Like, it's the same things that I do even until now. Weight training, lots of squats, and lots of exercises with that band, with an elastic resistance band, just to, to help my muscles and my hips and my glutes and hammies and all those bits and pieces. So she also checked my mechanics when I run. So she filmed me running.
Oh, yeah.
And then she said, she didn't find any issue because both her and Toby, both of them checked my video and said, I don't find anything.
Okay, so you didn't have to make any changes to your running gait?
No, not at all. They seem fine.
Get strong, load up the bones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get strong muscles, because what Emma actually explained to me is that, which makes sense, so the muscles absorb all the impact when you run. So if you are thin and you don't have enough muscles, then, the bone receives all the impact, and then it's when these things happen. Yeah. So anyway, I started my program. I started running again. I was very happy with my performance, very happy, because it was a year when I would run a race in one of the TRSA races, and I was like 4th, 5th, in the female group. I was running very fast, and I was happy about that. And then it started to increase my load. I was running probably about 80, 85 Ks a week. Yeah. And then 1 week out of Urabilla, it happened again on the other side. Oh my God. And I knew that pain was familiar.
Yeah.
It was so familiar. Straight away. Exactly. And I went, oh my God, not again. I was so desperate. I cried a lot, and I'm like, no, this is not happening again. Anyway, it happened. So I went to see Emma again, and then she was concerned because, of course, a one-off, you think, oh, well, it's just probably too much load, the 2 ultras that I did just then and blah, blah. But then when she saw me and saw that it happened in a consecutive year on the neck, on the other side.
There's something else going on.
Exactly. Yeah. So then she wanted, she asked me to get checked by a sports, how do you say this? Nutritionist? Yeah. Because she said that it might have to do with my nutrition as well. So I'm not eating properly, and that's why. And then because the other factor that it happened, and that's of course just females, I started to miss my periods.
Yes.
Yeah. So then she sort of say, okay, so this is what's happening, and that's what I show you before. It's called a female athlete triad. Yeah. So she said, I believe you have these, Maria. So she said, because you are one of the symptoms, or the symptoms for these, you start missing your periods, you have a low bone density, which I have, and you are very thin, and then you have this type of injuries. Yeah. So it all matched. So then she was very concerned, and she said, you go and see the nutritionist just to check that your food intake is actually in line with how many calories you're burning with all your running. And of course, when I went and see Amelia from Nutrition Strategies, okay, I went and see her, and So, and of course, again, the crutches, the story again, 8 weeks in crutches and all those
8 weeks.
pieces. Yeah.
How did you stop yourself going crazy during this 8 weeks? What did you do instead?
I cried a lot more the second time. It was because I knew what was happening and how it is. And it was so frustrating. I don't even know how I managed that.
Did you just do like upper body work to have exercise?
Yeah, so you would normally find me in the gym with my crutches and trying to do some upper body stuff and whatever I could do. I did a bit of pool running, but even that was painful. Yeah. So I had to stop. I just
and I saw you at Arabella volunteering last year. Did you do a lot of that to stay involved?
I did, to stay connected. I did lots of volunteering in that time as well. So that's sort of probably how I coped, but it was a very hard time. So when I actually went and see Amelia, and then she asked me, so what is your diet? And I told her what I eat normally, and she was like shocked. She said, is that it? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not starving myself. It was just like I didn't feel hungry. Yep. I mean, I was eating when I was hungry. It's not that I'm not going to eat that. Yeah. So she said, that's nothing. You have to eat a lot more than that. Okay. So she said, if you want to continue running, you have to put on weight. And I was like, okay, I will put on weight. So she sent me this diet plan with massive amounts of food to eat, which I am still eating now.
Do you know about how many calories a day, or is there some kind of measure there? How do you know when you're having enough according to?
So it was about 2,500 calories a day in the plan. So it was a lot.
Whoa, yeah, she's bulking you up.
Yeah, it was quite a lot. Yeah. Like it compared to what I was eating. Yeah. Even, to get my tummy to get used to that amount of food took a bit of time. Of course, everything was healthy, but it was just doubling up. Whatever I was eating is just double. So, of course, I put on weight, like probably 5 kilos or so. It was not a lot, but it helped. Yeah. And then I started to having my periods again. Yay. So that was a good sign. Emma was very happy when that happened. Yeah. Did you have your periods again? Yes, I am having my periods. She was, yay, that's good. Yeah. So that was also part of the process, the recovery process, making sure that I have my periods, that I'm gaining weight, and of course the physical process of recovery from the injury. So
were you focused on any vitamins or minerals in particular, or was it just more amounts?
It was a lot of focus on vitamin D and calcium. Yeah. So my calcium intake was very low at that time. Yeah. And I had to increase it a lot, like 4 times what I was having calcium I had to have with my diet, and I'm still having that amount of calcium.
And the vitamin D is for the calcium absorption.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that I have to have like forever. Yeah. Vitamin D, even though I'm dark and I get sunburned with just going outside for 10 minutes, but still I need vitamin D. Yeah. So that's what I still have, and then my diet, of course, I still have that.
So what foods did she make you focus on for that? Calcium and vitamin D.
Because I don't drink cow's milk, she said, if you're going to drink almond milk, make sure there's the fortified with calcium, because there is one or a couple of brands that have calcium added. And then yogurt. I do drink yogurt and cheese and things like that. Yeah. So, and then lots of protein. I'm not a big fan of red meat. But I had to eat a bit more of that, and then just meat in general, like chicken or whatever, eggs. So that was the main focus.
Sometimes with bacon.
Sometimes with bacon. Yeah. So it was so this second time was a lot slower than the first time. For some reason, it took a lot of time to heal. Yeah. It was painful after a few months. Even I was not in crutches anymore, but I could still feel the pain. So I probably took, I don't know, maybe more than 6 months off running. Wow. And then started again. But this time, which was last year. Yeah. So this time I took it very easy. So just slow, and nothing major. during that year. I remember Emma said, just take this year as a build-up year and forget about races, forget about anything. Just run and enjoy and recover. And then maybe next year you kind of start thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, that sounds like a plan. And that's what I'm doing because, I think if I have to choose between racing and just training, I prefer 100 times more training than racing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I know races are great and it's all, all the emotions that you feel at that time, but
and the brownies at the end.
And the brownies and rolls.
Yes.
But, it's fine. It's one day. Whereas you can continue training and going for runs with your friends and things like that. That's what you enjoy. I think personally I enjoy more.
Particularly when you have Belair National Park on your doorstep.
Exactly right. Yes. Exactly right. So that's it. And that's really what I'm always careful and very scared about. Like recently I have also this pain on my hip and I'm like, oh no, my God, not again. I went to see Emma again and she said, do you want to do an MRI again? I'm like, what do I do? In the end, we decided, let's do, because I have previous history. Let's just go and check. And, if this is it, we would know what to do. Thank God it wasn't. So I'm safe.
So do you have any, has it healed properly, those two fractures? Have they both healed as far as you can tell?
Yeah, so the MRI told me that it has healed. So the one that I just had last week. I don't know about the other side, so the right side, because I didn't test this side. But I'm presuming it's fine because I didn't have any pain.
Okay.
But now I'm a bit more conscious about that. So whenever I feel pain, I stop training, replace for bicycle, just gym or whatever.
Yeah, just go for cross training instead.
Yeah. Because I know how it feels to be off so much time and all those emotions are the hardest bit.
So do you have any particular maintenance and prevention strategies, like things that you I have to do these to make sure that you don't go backwards, with your nutrition and with your strength work? What are your must-dos now?
So my strength has to be always, it has to happen at least once a week. So during my recovery time, I was doing it twice or even 3 times a week. But now it's at least once a week. I do have to do strength work. So squats and lunges and step ups and, all those things that are boring but necessary. Yeah. So that's a must. A bit of cross training as well. So not just running. What happened before the second fracture happened, I was just running. So I didn't know anything other than running. Yeah. And I didn't give time, proper time to my body to recover. So I was just doing it all the time and my muscles were always fatigued. So now I try to do more cross training, and even if it's just going to the gym and do some, in the indoor bicycle something. It's that works for me too. So I tend to do that. And then with my nutrition, I have to always be on top of it. That's probably the hardest bit, because it's not that you're always very hungry. I mean, sometimes I am, especially when I train a lot and when I run, long distances, that big. Yeah. You feel hungry maybe the next day or something. You're trying to catch up. But, just a normal day, I wouldn't be that hungry, but I have to be on top of it and say, it doesn't matter. I still have to do these and eat these and have these. And the worst bit is when I'm actually running. So when I go in a long run, I don't really feel hungry, so I don't need to eat anything. But at the same time, I must eat something. Yeah. And I remember that's what Amelia said to me. Is that...
That's my alarm to pack my...
Shut up.
To remember to pack my clothes for... I do a girls' gym supervision at work. And I always forget my clothes, so pack the clothes.
Oh, okay. So I'll remind you. Amelia said to me, you always, anything that is over 10 Ks, you have to bring something with you.
10 Ks.
10 Ks.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, sometimes when I go and do 30Ks, I don't feel hungry.
Yeah.
So she said, you must. Even if you don't feel hungry, you must. So now I'm more conscious about that and, conscious about those bits and pieces. And, of course, the first thing that I have to always be careful of is my periods. If I start to miss them again, then
Right.
there
So
is
like
a problem.
canary in the mine for you, your first sign.
Yeah. That would pretty much be my body telling me, hey, something is not right.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing. So, but luckily, I haven't had that since the second fracture. So, which is good.
I remember I had that issue a few years ago with some exercise DVDs I was doing, and did some research at the time, and found this description was basically saying that your brain is getting this message that you're running away from predators so much, like it's getting all those stress hormones. It's going, obviously, no babies right now. Shut all that down. Not a safe environment.
That's logic.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's true, but that's a funny explanation. But,
that's actually a good explanation. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So that's good. So you have that very first sign.
Yeah.
So you said that you didn't have to change your running form or anything, but when you were looking into what's going wrong, what's happening, were there any other adjustments that helped? Like, was there like change in shoes, or was there anything else that helps you take that pressure off? You're saying without that big muscle mass, you're getting a lot more hit on your bones.
Yeah.
Has it just been strength and cross training and nutrition?
Yeah, I think those are the key ones. I didn't really do anything to change my form or anything, or shoe-wise.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. I've always been a fan of Saucony, so I wear them, and I never had an issue with them. And with my form, the only comment that Toby and said that day was like, my hands are very funny when I run. My arms is like, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's going to be hard to change. Oh, but we don't care about that. But apart from that, they were okay with my form. So it would be interesting maybe to check again, because it was a while ago. But, yeah.
And do you find there's any limitations on your training now compared to what you used to want to do and build up to?
Yeah. I'm more conscious about that as well, because I don't remember who told me, one of my specialists that I've been seeing in all these story of fractures.
Yeah.
He said something to me that was very true. Like, not all bodies are the same, of course, and some bodies are made to, for example, run 5 ultras in a year, like a few guys that we know are friends from TRSA and Robin and all those people. But some other bodies may cope with 1 or 2 a year. Yeah. So you have to know your body and don't assume that because you're training for it, you will be able to handle the same load. And that sort of made sense to me. And I said, yeah, that's actually true. So maybe my body is not made for that. So I thought, well, I'll probably start just getting to know my body and say, okay, we'll start with 1 ultra a year, and then if I can increase to 2, and then just play by ear and see how I feel. I might need more time to recover from ultras before I can attempt to do more. But even though it's very tempting, because my energy levels are fine, so when I run and I enjoy it, and it's not like I'm hating it and I want to finish. I'm just running and enjoying it, but my body's probably not coping with it well. So yeah. And now that I remember, another person that was great in my second fracture was Erin. You know Erin? Colebatch?
Oh, Colebatch, yeah.
Yeah, she was great too. I met her through my fracture because she also had a fracture at that time. So we were sharing fractures and sharing, those emotions, and we caught up a few times. I remember, a few of those times when I was so down and, oh my God, I cannot run and this is just awful. She would just, again, give me some encouragement, and we were just cheering up each other. So she was great, Erin. Yeah, and I think, and she recommended me also the sports doctor that I went to see, who was also a great doctor. But it's all, And I've heard that this issue is starting to happen a lot with women.
Yeah.
It's starting to get very common, the stress fractures on the
Right.
hips. I don't know why. Don't really know why, but I've heard that even Emma said to me, this is getting very common now. Yeah, so I don't know. It might be interesting to ask her.
Yeah, what she thinks is behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, well, in my case, I know what it is, but in other cases, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you said you're limiting yourself to maybe 1 or 2 ultras a year at the moment.
Yeah,
So what do you got lined up on the calendar this year?
Well, I would like to do Cleveland 50, which is in June. So my first plan was to do 5 peaks. But because I had this niggle just then, and then, I thought, and then, I also thought I would like to start with a coach, working with a coach, just because I want to have like a more professional approach to how to increase my load and things like that, rather than just me going blind. So he seemed to think that, no, 58 is too much for now. Let's start with 22 if you want to do 5 peaks. And then we'll think about Cleveland and blah, blah, blah. So probably Cleveland, and then I would like to do Wonderland again because I love Wonderland. And maybe Eurobilla again.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But those are the races that I have on mind. I wanted to do this year the Surf Coast Marathon, the 100Ks. But when I said that to my coach, he was like, no, not happening. Not happening this year. At least this year, no. So I said, fair enough. I'm not desperate. It's just
build up on the smaller ones. Get your confidence back that your body can handle
that my
this.
body can handle.
Yeah.
That's right. Until I'm not 100% sure that I can cope with that, I won't risk it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Do you mind asking who your coach is?
It's Nick.
Oh, Muxlow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of the 100K book. Oh, I've forgotten the title of the book.
Journey to 100.
Journey to 100, yes.
Yeah,
I bought and read that. Yeah.
He's fantastic. He's really good. He's really he has a good approach. He actually, talks to you, try to understand what your needs are, where do you come from, your history, before actually putting together something for you. So it's great. I mean, so far he's been really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, just started with him though. So but I'm looking forward to what's coming.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, so you got some exciting plans, and MRI all clear, back on track.
Yeah, back on track.
Back on track.
Thank God
and
for that.
all these lessons that you've learned that
Along the way.
Hopefully all your prevention to make sure you can run as long as you want.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Then maybe Surf Coast Century next year.
Yeah, who knows? You can do it with me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you so much for having me, Beck.
Yeah, it's really great. First podcast. I am definitely going to be a show notes kind of person, so I'll put a link in to Emma at Form Physio, Amelia at Nutrition Strategies, and Nick Muxlow's website. I can't remember what he calls it. Sorry, Nick. But I'll pop them in the show notes. Yeah, I've also got a picture of you I was going to
really?
So I'll clear that with you first.
Yeah, show me. As long as it's a decent one.
Stalked you online and thought, there's a nice picture. I think you'll like that one.
Because I don't really do social media, as you've noticed. I don't have anything on my Facebook. Even my photo is just an image.
I found you. I think it's a work photo.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I'll put it on the Facebook page so people can have a face to the name, face to the voice.
Oh, cool. That sounds good.
So, thank you. So that's it for the very first episode of Tales from the Midpack. And next time we'll be joined by Emma Freer from Form Physio.
Great.
So thanks for listening, and thank you again, Maria.
Thank you, Beck.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.